today's video is going to be a very personal topic for me. I think a lot of the LGBT community deals with this because it's extremely hard here in Chicago. Being black, gay, either trans, gender non-conforming as myself, just being under that umbrella, like, it's hard. Like, I want to say some other stuff, but this channel ain't going nowhere, so we got plenty of time to talk. But I did want to just talk about and say, like, me, I've been back in Chicago since I moved back from Indiana, like 13 years now, I think. Yeah, 13 years. And I can honestly say, like, at the beginning, like, when I was like really like coming out of the closet, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like, maybe because I was young, so it's like I didn't notice it as much. Like, I noticed it, but not as much as I got older. Like, once I really found my voice and became more, you know, in my pocket, in my zhuzh or whatever. And definitely with me being in employment and people looking at me a certain kind of way, like, it gets extremely annoying because, like, I'm just living my life. Like, that's all I can say. Like, I'm just doing me. That's all I can do. If you don't like it, you know how it goes. It's just it's hard. Like, definitely here in Chicago, because I don't know, it's just it's bad enough we can add all the other isms into it. Racism, the prejudices, like, anywhere you go in Chicago, like, there's always something going on. Like, and not to just sound so like whatever, like, I ain't gonna say I'm pro black, but I am pro black. Like, I don't play that, you know, people thinking that they can talk about race around me and or be condescending about race around me and think that I won't speak up and I won't say anything, because in my opinion, I feel like we live in a world where you have to stand your ground or you will fall for anything. You know that old school saying, like, if you'll fall for anything, if something. Don't quote me. I don't know that quote. But nonetheless, I just think a lot of times people seem to forget that, like, the world we live in is just, it's a day-to-day struggle. Like, okay, so, like, I think the toughest thing was for me to admit that I had depression, because you never want to kind of, like, I've always been like the strong friend. Everybody know me. When stuff going on, I kind of just, you know, put on a good face and I deal with it. Then once I'm going through it or whatever, then I'll talk about it and stuff like that. But I think at least for a good, I want to say at least about a good 10, 11 years, like, off and on, I've dealt with bottling my feelings so well, because for one, I just never felt like I was understood, heard or whatever. And I know a lot of people say that, and for the longest time I used to be like I have people I can talk to and they listen and they get it and da-da-da, but it's like, no. And what that really means is, like, when you're in a place where you just don't feel like you expressing yourself to people, they know what's going on, they get it, but at the same time, it's like, it's hard for them to understand it because they're not living it, they're not going through it. They can identify the problem, but they can't identify it the way you're going through it. So it makes it extremely difficult. And definitely with me living in a city like, you know, the Windy City, Chicago, ooh, like, we could talk about Chicago all day and all the things that's wrong with it, but nonetheless, I just feel like we live in I'm sure every city and every state probably has the same thing. Like, it's extremely segregated, and people, they don't see that because, like, downtown shows such one specific side, like, where, you know, everybody's together and, you know, people are just doing their thing. But those are tourists, those are travelers. A lot of those people aren't people who are from the city. Like, they work down there. If they do live down there, you know, it is what it is. stuff like that. So it just makes it extremely difficult to really have that that union, that bond, that thing, whatever, because a lot of the times we just don't seem to know how to just kind of like deal with those moments when we're going through things and we can't necessarily process them the way we would like to, because it gets extremely hard out here. Like it's difficult. I just think a lot of it came from I would just say friends, family, people that were just around me in general. Like I just think it's extremely hard for them to kind of gather and sometimes see it the way I see it, because a lot of people, like, they think that it's an inner battle, like, and I'm living in this box where I think everyone's out to get me and attack me. But the thing is, I've lived this truth for so long. I know the ins, the outs of me identifying and being who I am. Like, it's nothing in this world that nobody could tell me that could be different and make me feel like I'm less than. But what I can say is the fact that by living in a world, in a culture where you are not accepted or identified, it becomes extremely hard and it becomes a struggle or whatever. So like being black and gay in Chicago is one of the most toughest things I deal with on a regular, because it's a day-to-day thing. Like it's not one day, oh my God, like I'm fine, I'm good. Like, yeah, like I have good days here where I feel like I can move through around the city and be fine. Then there's other days where I just be like, you know what, I don't have time for this. Like I want to just kind of like melt, like evaporate, just go somewhere and like not be bothered, because it's just like I want to be comfortable being able to live my truth without feeling so much judgment. Like it's so much judgment. Like it's so much judgment, and I mean that like for real. Like it's a lot of judgment, and I'm comfortable. Like I'm cool with it, but at the same time, like we're human. At the end of the day, we all have our breaking points, and some days we just want to be bothered with that. Like we don't want to entertain nobody looking at us with dirty looks or feeling like, why are we here? We don't belong. Like I already have to deal with it because I'm black, because I'm a man, and then I'm gay, and then how I identify myself, and then how I look, and how I talk, and how I dress, and the list goes on and on or whatever. And a lot of people, the easiest thing for them to say is like, okay, well, if you don't want that attention, then why look that way? Why do this? Why do that? Because that ain't me. That's why. Because I can't do those other things. All I can do is this person right here. I can't be anybody else. And I think the hardest thing for people to understand is just the fact that like I didn't like choose this life to just go, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna start doing all these crazy things just, for the sake of attention. Like this is a part of me. Like of course, me wearing nails and hair and lashes and makeup and women's clothes and things like that. Yeah, it's a choice, but it's a choice I decided to choose because it's embedded in me. Like you can't just, it's nothing fake about this, honey. Like you can't buy this. Like you can't buy it. And I think the hardest thing for people to understand is that they think a lot of times it's an act. People who appear this way want attention. Now, I ain't saying it ain't. I've seen a lot of girls out here. Looking, very skeptical. But I ain't one of them. Like, it's, no hormone pills, no type of, feminization shebang going on here. This is all me, all real, like, and it is what it is. But a lot of people, they think that when they see a person like me that, oh, I must be trapped, and I think I'm a woman and I'm a man trapped in a woman's body. I hate that effing saying, because that's not my story. Like I love being who I am. Like I don't want to get nothing snipped, nothing slit, nothing pump, jump, whatever. I want to stay like this because this is all I can be. I can only be myself or whatever. And if I start tweaking myself, then I'm allowing people's judgment of how they see me and how they think I should identify in their eyes to become a reflection of me, and that ain't it. Like I can't do that. I would be wasting my time on earth trying to live for people. At the end of the day, all I am is a walking comic, a walking commentation. Like when they see me, all they want to do is have something to say, versus really trying to understand and know anything about my life, the LGBT community, anything like that. Like they don't get that part, because we live, even in the LGBT community, it's still a box inside of it. Like there's the DL guys over here. The trade, meaning AK guys that can pass as straight men, they give off feminine tendencies over here. And then, there's the gay boys who they do what they do. There's people that's such as me. There's the drag queens, there's the transgenders, and then there's a lot of isolation within the community or whatever. So it still isn't like you have your brothers and your sisters to depend on, because you don't. Like it's never ending. Like you don't have that moment to think about these other people that identify the same way that you do, because y'all stories are different, so it's like by your stories being different, it really don't make us the same. Like it shows no type of community in a sense. Like there's none of that. So and I can say I've experienced that very little amongst the gay community, with people that I know who identify underneath the umbrella I identify under or as or whatever. So it's extremely tough here in Chicago, and definitely for a lot of the trans girls and people who I don't say just like me, but identify similar or underneath the same umbrella as I do, because a lot of the times people, they want to be loved, and they put themselves in a lot of dangerous positions to be in, where they feel like, oh my God, like I'm dating a trade. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of times in our community, the best thing the best thing for a lot of girls is the fact that they can find them a man who appears to look straight or appear straight. And by that's like a feat, because there's so many of us running around here like, yes, girl, get it, like doing all of that. So it's like when we find a guy who's masculine, quote unquote, that's what we want to run to. That's what we want to catch and want to get. And a lot of girls will do that by any means necessary. Like, well, that means they have to be their best kept secret. Like when I say my inbox is girls, I gotta make a video on this, but in my inbox, there's so many guys who are on the down low, who have so many of mutual friends, definitely on Facebook. Facebook is horrible. Luckily, it isn't as bad as it used to be, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of those men are out here living double lives and not being true about, what's going on, how they identifying, what they doing, who they doing it with. And it just constantly puts that bad image over us, because it's not so much, they ain't gonna look at the straight man like that. No. They're gonna look at the gay man like that, because they looking at it like, he ain't doing it but trying to be one of us anyway. It's always that BS that we have to go through, as far as in being who we are, being comfortable in our own skin, and then constantly have to hear that energy from women, thinking that a lot of us want to be them. No, I admire the woman, I respect the woman. I have 2 sisters, a mother, and I love them dearly. Like I've seen them up, down, middle, in between, all that. So it's like, no, like I appreciate the woman and I love thy woman, but me trying to be a woman, no, I don't. I want to be myself. I want to be this beautiful human being that, I would say unicorn, but that word, I feel like it's overused. It's overrated, basically. But I just want to be me, and by any means necessary. If I can do that and spread my energy and my knowledge and my essence to the world in any way, shape, or form that I can. I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability, because that's what I believe I was here for. Like, I believe I was to give people like a purpose. Like my energy is like, I never want people to feel like they're failing, like, because I feel like I didn't have a lot of support at a point in time. I felt like you know, people wasn't really like rooting for me, like, or advocating for me the way I advocate for people, because I'm big on that. Like, I want to see people win. I want to see them rise above, because I feel like life is too short. You don't want to take your life or whatever and putting yourself in a position where you don't allow people's energy to kind of like lift you up. Then you'll somehow, like, some people, hey, you might stumble and fall and trip and get wrapped up into being in a place of darkness and not knowing how to rise above it. Because like I said, I've had my dark days, definitely, with battling depression, but like I said, just living here in Chicago, it's a lot. It's a very toxic city. Like, it's extremely toxic. Like, people, I'm sure, like I said, everybody probably feel that way about wherever they come from, whatever. Because when you around those people in the community, you see how people respond and react to things or whatever, it just makes you be in a position where you be looking like everybody just around you just feel like yuck, like it just feels nasty or something. Like, it just doesn't put a good taste in your mouth, basically. So I'm trying to think what else I want to say. I don't know. I think we're gonna wrap this video up. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let everybody know that you know who want to know, who don't care if they don't want to know. Let them know about my little channel and how we trying to grow this channel, so I can start doing a lot more and giving back. Because like I said, I'm a giver backer. I'm a giver. So so I really want to do that. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Until next time.